Hi guys, Stefan here again, and for this month's Shenmue related video I wanted to briefly discuss my favorite moment from Shenmue 1 and 2, my favorite moment overall, and that actually comes from Shenmue 2. And my absolute favorite moment in this entire series is that bus trip when you are leaving for the Kowloon Walled City for the first time. And it might seem like an odd moment because it's not a big epic fight, it's not a big scene where something is revealed, where there's a big twist, it's not a chase through the streets, it's not a sad moment really. For me though, it's all about atmosphere, and this moment was where Shenmue 2 really opened up for me, where it really showed what it was going to be. See, at that point, I had played Shenmue 2 for the first time on the original Xbox. We didn't get Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast here in the States, and I didn't even know Shenmue 2 existed for the longest time until I found it, got an Xbox, and started playing it. So the original Xbox version is 1 DVD, while the Dreamcast version is 4 GD-ROMs. So at that point, on the bus trip, you're switching between discs 2 and 3, and you have an idea that, okay, I'm maybe around halfway through the story. But with the Xbox version, without a strategy guide or anything, I had no idea how far along I was, and the way the story kind of ramps up at that middle point, at that end of Disc 2, it feels like it could be the end to this chapter of the saga, where you're ending, the game, you're getting right into that final, towards the end of that third act, and you're not yet, but that's kind of how it feels. And at that point, Shenmue 2 had already been, I always felt, as big and as engrossing and as time-consuming just in those first two sections as all of Shenmue 1. At this point, I figured, alright, this game was already as big and as wonderful, and in my mind, for my personal taste, on par with the first game. And I had no idea it was going to open up into a much bigger thing, and this scene just really visually represented that. His travel out to the Kowloon Walled City really showed this opening of a wider, bigger journey that we got in Shenmue 2, and leading into what's happening with Shenmue 3. It showed that this is going to be just a grander adventure than it initially seemed, and realizing where he was going, a place that I really enjoy history, and especially looking at Asian history, and for some reason I've always had a very particular fascination with Hong Kong and the history of that area, and the Kowloon Walled City in particular, and knowing that he was going there and exploring it in the 80s, and it was just this really interesting and fascinating thing, and that is actually my favorite part of all. To me, if you cut Shenmue 2 off right before that bus trip, it's right on par with Shenmue 1 for me. Shenmue 1 might even kind of beat it out, but it's that second half, that last part of Shenmue 2 that really puts it way up there as being one of my top 5 games of all time, and much better, in my opinion, than the first Shenmue. It's that second half that really captured me and really drew in and was everything that I wanted, and that scene just perfectly encapsulated that entire feeling, and it was just a sense of awe that first time watching it and realizing that, wow, this adventure is not over, it's not coming to a close, it's just getting started.